why did I choose to embrace Islam, to become a Muslim? The why, I suppose, it was as I was mentioning. I was searching for the truth. I was searching for the meaning of life. I was searching for the answers to the question of, what is it all for? What is the purpose of our existence? Why am I here? What is this life all about? And having searched through various different religions and read many books, and having been brought up in a fairly, yes, definitely a strict Christian background, I came across the Quran, a translation of the Quran. And in reading this translation of the Quran, I found within it something so unique, something so special, that I decided by the time I had nearly accomplished reading it, that if I had ever read a book that was from God, this was the one. Mm-hmm. So that was the thing that really changed me around. Although I had an association with Muslims for a long time. I mean, my father worked in Egypt, and so I used to spend my holidays there, and I knew Muslims and so on and so forth. But it was not until I really read this translation of the Quran, and this is the thing that really convinced me that it must be from God, from the Creator. I've never actually heard myself of anyone becoming a Muslim because of such an experience. I mean, maybe there have been. But yes, I think this is something that you will find common amongst people who have chosen Islam. And I think it's worth mentioning, I had it in my mind to mention this as well, that everybody has to choose Islam. You chose Islam at some time as well, Shabir.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, a lot of people think the new Muslim, the white Muslim, the black Muslim, we chose this. Everyone at some stage in their life has to make a choice to be a Muslim. You, Shabir, although you were brought up in a Muslim family probably, and so on and so forth, you made a choice, a conscious decision at some stage in your life to choose Islam. There's lots of people brought up in Muslim families who don't make that conscious decision to choose Islam. They make a conscious decision to go in the opposite direction. So I don't really know why we are thought to be so special, but but Alhamdulillah. This choosing of Islam, as I said, was mentioning, this came from reading the Quran, contemplating, thinking, and that is something that I find generally that is one of the things that has impressed me about Islam until today. And I used to say Islam is the religion of reason, and maybe that's not quite an accurate way or a proper thing to say. But I have never found a religion, and I don't think anyone, and I am sure 100% no one could ever find a religion that is reasonable like Islam is reasonable. And I say it in the sense that you will not find a single belief, a single thing that Islam is teaching you or Islam is telling you to believe, except that it is compatible with sound reasoning. And that is one of the beautiful things about Islam. And that's why I think you find that thinking people become Muslims, not people who rely on some sort of mystical, sort of emotional experience. Okay? Because really, how can truth be something that is manifest through some emotional, mystical, strange experience? I mean, if that's the case, then, David Koresh and the son of Sam and so many other extraordinary, crazy mass murderers and people who do all sorts of extraordinary things, if you look at their psychology and their accounts of their life, a lot of them have these type of extraordinary experiences. Like the son of Sam, a dog talked to him and he thought this dog was a messenger of God. I mean, so I mean, this is sort of extraordinary things. But Islam, no. Islam is a religion. It asks you to use your mind. You find the Quran again is saying, in this are signs for those who think. In this are signs for those who have understanding. And this is signs for those who are wise. When the angels greet the people, or rather not greet them, but when the angels who are guarding the gates of hellfire, they say to the people who are going to the hellfire, didn't someone come to you? Didn't someone warn you? And the people who are going to the hellfire, they said, yes. And if only we had used our aql, if we only used our intelligence, we wouldn't now be in the fire. It's an indication that Islam is something that you're going to come at and arrive at through using your intelligence, not merely some act of faith. I accepted Islam and I went to the mosque for a bit and so on and so forth. But the truth is, the moment I encountered the first bit of difficulty, that was it. I didn't ever say that I'm not a Muslim. I always used to tell people over a glass of wine and, yes, I'm Muslim. Islam is fantastic. I mean, I remember once I was at a party and I was completely intoxicated, I think would be the polite way of putting it. And I was sitting there telling a group of people about how fantastic Islam was, and I was saying, well, if I wasn't so drunk, I could tell you a bit more. And this is really the case. So I didn't actually, I mean, the thing was, I believed it. And I never denied that this is what I held to be the truth. But in reality, I was not any different. In reality, I was still eating bacon butties are bacon sandwiches, right? And drinking alcohol and all the rest of it and everything like that. So it took 2 years of real mental, spiritual torment, I could say, because that's what it was. It was the worst 2 years of my life. And I always tell people that the person who is the worst off is the person who knows the truth and doesn't act upon the truth. The worst one is the one who knows the truth and doesn't follow it. There's a time when they call it blissfully ignorant. But when you know the truth and you don't follow that truth, that is, if there's hell on earth, that's what it is. If there's hell on earth, that's what it is. And that's what I went through. But alhamdulillah, I mean, I look back on it and it was ultimately through Allah's mercy, only through Allah's mercy, a strengthening experience. And when I did come to Islam, alhamdulillah, I think because of that experience, I came to Islam much stronger and much more with complete determination not to repeat that sort of error again. But it is a problem, and I'm sure that lots of brothers and sisters out there in different ways who become Muslim and who choose Islam encounter that same type of problem, to change their life around, and it is a very, 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 very major change. It's not like, you just change a few things, right? Now I believe in Jesus and that, everything goes on, right? No, I mean, your life changes round almost completely, and that is difficult. But it's easy for whomsoever Allah makes it easy. And I always think that the best answer to that is how Allah describes it in the Quran, and it is exactly the way Allah describes it. It is really the truth. And I would say that Islam, to be a Muslim, to be in Islam and out of Islam, the difference between being a Muslim and being an unbeliever is the difference between life and death. It's that's how extreme it is, and it really is that different. It's like before I was dead and now I'm alive. It is that different. It's like before, and this is how I think of it, is before I was in a room, a vast, huge room, which is totally pitch dark. And this room is surrounded by obstacles. So you're trying to find your way around this room. And as you're trying to find your way, you keep hitting these things and injuring yourself. And this is how you are, stumbling around in the darkness, crawling around, stumbling around, injuring yourself, battering yourself. Islam is like you open the door and you stepped out into the daylight. That's how it is. That's how the difference between being a Muslim and not being a Muslim. It's that different. I think the first thing is that you have to be very sincere and you have to be very honest about yourself. That's very difficult to do that. And that's very important, to be sincere. If you're sincere and you're really sincere, I'm sure that Allah will guide you to the truth. But it's not like you have to find the door. Really, because it's there. If anyone's watching this video, well, we're telling you about Islam. There's the light for you. Okay? If you deserve it, Allah will guide you to that light. That's the reality. If you are deserving of it, Allah will guide you to that light. Because we have to understand that Allah chooses who He wants for His guidance. And He chooses people who are deserving of it. This is the reality. Okay? So, really, one needs to seek that guidance, one needs to pray for that guidance, and you need to seek it with your mind, with your heart, with your soul. This is the way to go forward. But if we're talking about how does someone who's now found the truth, they've discovered Islam, maybe someone, and it happens, some people for years have been reading the Quran and reading books about Islam. And I think maybe after the second month they'd already knew that Islam was the truth, but somehow they kept telling themselves, I have to read more, I have to read more. A lot of people are afraid to make that, that step, that final step. So, I mean, there's nothing to do it except you have to do it. You have to take that step. Once you know that Islam is the truth, you need to embrace Islam. You need to enter into the fold of Islam. And for those who have done that, how do you proceed? Simple thing. Very simple. If you hold on to it, God willing, you will never go astray and you will be guided on the right path. And that is to guard the prayers. Those 5 prayers, those prayers 5 times a day, if you guard them, and it doesn't matter if you do anything, if you can't do anything except that, if you guard those prayers and you make sure you say those prayers, you will find that this will be one of the surest ways to change your life around. Without a doubt. As I was saying, Allah guides who He wants to guide. In this noble religion, we have been ordered to take into account the process of cause and effect. This is something that God has put in the creation. This is something that we are ordered to deal with. So the cause and effect is that if you call people to Islam, the effect is that normally you will expect people to embrace Islam. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not receive revelation and then just sit in his home. He went and told people about it. Now, primarily and fundamentally, we need to do that as Muslims because that is our absolute obligation. No one should think that this is something recommended or I can do it if I want to, or no. Everybody is obliged, an obligation upon them to call others to Islam. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said, call people to my message or pass on my message even if it is one verse of the Quran. If you know one verse of the Quran and you understand it, it is your obligation to pass it on. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He took an oath, wal asr, innal insana lafi khusr, illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Allah swore by time that all of mankind are in a state of loss, illa alladhina amanu, except those who believe, wa amilu salihat, and those who do righteous actions, wa tawassaw bis sabr, wa tawassaw bil haqq, wa tawassaw bis sabr. And they join together in the mutual teaching of truth. And they join together in the mutual teaching of patience. So if you do not involve yourself in teaching the truth and being patient upon teaching that truth, because you will never succeed in calling people to Islam except with patience. If you don't do that, you are still amongst those who are lost. Even if you believe and even if you do righteous actions, if you don't participate in one way or another in da'wah, in calling people to Islam, in calling to the truth, in enjoining the right and forbidding the evil, and patient upon it, then you're going to be of those people who are lost.
Can you share with us some methods, some ways in which individuals can participate in da'wah?
Well, there's lots of ways. I mean, from the first way that one can participate in giving da'wah is that you equip yourself with the knowledge and the information that you need in order to be able to convince others that Islam is the truth. And that their religion is false. It's not only by the way of convincing someone that Islam is true. There's always a double method. We convince people that Islam is true, but we also need to show them that they are upon falsehood. In fact, it usually comes the other way around. You have to show them that what they're upon is falsehood, and then after that, you illustrate to them how Islam is true. This is essential. This is implicit even in the actual shahada. La ilaha illallah, the negation and the affirmation that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah. The negation, nothing, no God worthy of worship, illallah, except Allah. So there's the affirmation the negation and the affirmation. So you need to get the knowledge, you need to get the information, and you can do that, you can participate it either on an individual level or on a wider level, like those people who give lectures and talks and so on and so forth, like yourself and myself. This is one way you can do it. You should start generally anyway with your family. This is the first people you should start with. They have the most obligation upon you. And then after that your friends and then the people nearest you, and so on and so on and so forth. So this is the method, inshallah, calling them first and foremost to the oneness of Allah, not to what are really side issues, like, I don't know, why do we chop the hand of a thief, or trying to explain to people this and that. These are really side issues. The most important thing is to explain them why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone should be worshipped.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel that you can't do that, okay, you should still strive to, but there's other ways. You can distribute literature. You can, maybe Allah has gifted you with the ability to make money. Then you can give your money to people who are giving dawah. You can help those organizations, you can help those institutions that are concerned with propagating Islam. Maybe Allah has not given you the gift of the gab, maybe you have good organizational talents. Then you could get involved in organizing or helping to organize some activities and so on and so forth. One doesn't have to think that the only way to give dawah is by sitting there like, I do on the soapbox and speaker's corner, telling people about Islam or so on. There's lots of different ways that you can get involved.
And now that I've embraced Islam, I feel like I want to learn more things, different things,
Mm-hmm. How has been your experience with the community of Islam? Have you felt that there is a strong sense of community among Muslims?
Of course there's a strong sense, because once you come to the mosque, you feel the oneness, It's not that guy over there, blah blah blah, and they're whispering, It's not about that, You come to a brother, you say, oh brother, Alhamdulillah, you're a good brother, you confront him or you take him aside and you talk to him one-on-one, Because I always believed there was one God, Even before I became Muslim, I always believed there was one God. I didn't know who that God was, But Alhamdulillah, praise Allah, He's the one who guides,
Mm-hmm.
It's your duty to spread the oneness of God, because if there's no one to spread the oneness of God, everybody's going to go astray. And nobody's going to listen to this guy, oh, I'm going to go worship the sun. I'm going to go sit down and worship my statues. The book that I suggest they give to an individual is the Quran. Because that's the best book you can give to a person. Because when I first read that book, the first time I wasn't open-minded, but the second time when I was open-minded, that's when it really changed. That's when I said, yes, this is the right religion. Because when I read the Quran, I felt like peace was, peace was with me, and it was growing with me, So.
I don't think it's very complicated. I guess a couple things. I can give you a good example. I remember, pre-teen or just as a teenager, wondering what's this all about, and who could explain everything that's on this earth? Who can explain the stars, the moon, the sun, and well, people could explain it to me and break it down. The sun is a gas. I said, well, duplicate it and put another one up there. If you can do this, you're so great. I think friendship amongst Muslims is very strong, and because there's a law, there's a system that people have to abide to, and not just one person has to do this, everyone has to do the same thing, and it makes friendship a lot easier. So no, I took like people just dropped like flies, and that's okay, whatever, loss, I don't care, but. No, I mean, once you embrace Islam sincerely, it's a way of life. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's not a chore. It's wonderful. I mean, I remember the first time I made wudu, which is, you have to cleanse yourself before you pray. And I was getting ready to put my foot up in the sink to wash it, and one of the brothers I just did shahada with the other day said to me, oh, it's a little bit of an inconvenience. And I said, no, it's not. If this is what it takes to get to paradise, this is a small task to do. If they honestly believe it in their heart, and they have the facts, and they're ready to commit to Islam, then do it wholeheartedly. And I don't know. It's not that hard at all. It's more or less an oath, and then you start to. This is my experience, and then it's basically following the principles and fundamentals of Islam, And there's many Dawah centers. There's many people, Muslims that'll be willing to help you learn about your religion. It's very easy. Once you are sincere about it, um, my experience is God put people like that instantly in my life. Instantly. And it made it very easy for me. It's not hard. I just suggest that people get the facts, and even if people are comfortable being as Christians, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to have a look, and not rely on what other people tell you. To have a look, just get the facts about Islam. I've always wanted to say this, that people need to just get the facts, not what they read about in the paper or whatever. Get the facts from a Dawah center, from a practicing Muslim. Get the facts about Islam, and then make a conscious, intelligent decision. Well, the Muslims that have no other alternative to be in this country should be doing Dawah. And I think basically what attracts a lot of people to Islam is the actions of other Muslims. You'll see a lot of times, maybe in your workplace, at your school, a person will be fine one day. Next day, I mean, he's in the dumps. Next day, they're on top of the world. Next day, they're you know, come see, come saw, or complacent. You know, usually a practicing Muslim will be, you know, pretty much on board the whole time. And I think that tends to lead a lot of people to Islam. Is, you know, what is it about this person? What and you know, when confronted, a Muslim should explain, no, this is Islam that makes me this way. This is my religion. Yes, I absolutely believe that every Muslim that is in this country and should be doing Dawah. Absolutely.
So you've mentioned one way of doing Dawah, or giving the call of Islam, that is by the deeds that the Muslims do, by being good Muslims themselves. That would obviously be one way of giving the message. Are there any other ways? Would you recommend giving booklets, leaflets, and so on?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm personally working on ways. Ways to, you know, I mean, the Western society, to at least have them come and contact Dawah centers and stuff like that. Ideas I have to you know, people to open their eyes up to Islam. Yes, absolutely. The booklets, the leaflets, they're great. But, you know, once again, you find this stuff usually at a Dawah center, or somebody affiliated with the Dawah center, or somebody who's going to the masjid all the time. You should be you know, Muslims, you know, I mean, if they're here working, they should be handing this stuff out, or talking to their employers, people they work with, co-workers, their neighbors, no doubt. I think the mosque should be inviting their whole neighborhood to come and learn about Islam. They should be invited to every bazaar. They should be invited to a bake sale, a car wash, whatever's going on, and absolutely find out that you know. And then, you know, that's a great time to break the ice, that kind of thing.
How has Islam changed your life?
From a lot of ways, like, you know, me, I'm not going to go into my past still, because, you know, I don't dwell on the past, you know. But basically, it went from from darkness to light, you know. And I'm not saying I'm all light, because there's different shades of light, you know. And there's different shades of dark, so, you know, I went from that shade of dark to the light, you know what I mean? So basically, I'm just dealing with the light now, you know, the light of guidance, and the darkness of ignorance is just past me right now, you know. Yeah.
Right. Now, in dealing with the Muslim community, if you had to put it in a nutshell, what is your experience in dealing with the Muslim community? Do you feel that there is a sense of brotherhood in the Muslim community?
Love, much love. It's just love all around, you know. I never seen so much love, man. Like, you don't find any other religion, you know. Especially when you got the mixes of different cultures and races, and everyone just together with love, and they're all under one banner, you know. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. There's no God but Allah. Muhammad is the last messenger. It's just, you know. You want something, you gotta work for it. So you can't really like let those little things stop you, you know. Somebody wants something, they're gonna strive for it, you know. So you want the paradise, you're just gonna, you know, just do what you gotta do to get it.
Yes. Now, there might be many such individuals who already recognize somehow that Islam is true.
Right.
But they may need a little of a slight helping
Yeah,
hand. Maybe they
very
need to
true.
see a Malcolm X movie. I don't know. Maybe
Maybe.
maybe they need to hear something about the true religion that will open up their perspective a little bit more.
True.
Do you think that Muslims have done enough to show that wider perspective to the people out there?
Can never do enough. You never can do enough, you know? Just gotta
What
keep-
could Muslims do now in order to help other people to hear about this true religion of God?
Cause you got the internet, you got paper, can write. You gotta just use your brains and just say, suppose I wanted to sell something. I'm gonna think of any type of way I could sell this product what I got here. So we got Islam, so we just gotta, use the same methods and boom, distribute what we got, Islam, and then, just let the masses know what's going on. Internet, we got the flyers, and then we got, these little videos and stuff we're doing here. So, there's many ways we could spread the religion.
But most of the time, I consider myself to be strong. Like, if anyone said anything about, Jesus not dying for sins, I would be like one of the first people to stand up, and question why they're saying so. So yeah, I'd say I would have been pretty strong.
Now, what made you make a transition then? Obviously, you believe other than what you have just described. So you made a transition from being ready to defend that belief to now the opposite of not holding that belief anymore, and perhaps even trying to correct those who might have that belief. What made you decide to make this transition?
Well, the thing that affected me the most was looking back into the teachings of Jesus, peace be upon him, and as well as the other prophets that came before him, whose stories were recorded in the Bible, and as well having a look into the Quran, and specifically the signs that Allah gives to the people to show them that this is the correct religion to follow. So more or less, it was just a lot of thinking to myself. When I became Muslim, when I took my Shahada, what happened was, in my mind, I knew that Islam was true and that it would have been the correct decision to make. But then also, at the same time, in the back of my mind, there was a thought of, how would my mom think about this? Will they kick me out of the house? And so, more or less, the real struggle was in my mind, because I had to just prepare for the worst. And then after, when my mom found out, she was all crying and saying, how could I betray them by doing this? So like, it's just too bad they couldn't understand and listen to why I chose Islam.
So you don't feel that you have betrayed your parents then?
No, because actually I think the way I look at it now is my relationship with my parents, it's actually become better since I became a Muslim, and that I respect them more, and my love just went up the roof.
How does Islam help a young man like yourself to be a better son to your parents? How does Islam improve the relationship between yourself and your parents, for example?
Well, it's, the way I look at it, because Islam teaches you that you may not live to see the next day or even to the night when you wake up in the morning. So basically, you have to live each day as your last. Just like when you make prayer, you have to pray each prayer as if it was your last. So if one thinks this way, then with regards to the parents, then the thought in the back of their head should be, I might go to school today in the morning, but I may not be able to come back at 3 o'clock or whatever time. So, whenever you see your mom, just give her a kiss, just tell her you love her, and, whatever they need, you just have to be there to help them out.
Now, from what you have described, it is obvious that Islam teaches you certain principles to live by, which necessarily implies that you should respect and love your parents. I mean, you deal with them knowing that these moments you have might be the only moments, so you want to do it right. But is there anything in Islam that teaches something specifically about being good to your parents, being kind, loving, respectful to your parents?
Let's see, yeah, because what this one brother told me when I was new in Islam is that that paradise is at your mother's feet. Well, it's not literally, at your mother's feet, right? But through your actions, if you obey your mother and all the things that she asks you that is halal, right? And just allowed, so that by pleasing your parents, then it also pleases Allah. Maybe exalted, right? So it's like an incentive that, you know, if you want to get there, you want to get there. You know, this is one of the things you have to do to get there.
Mm-hmm. So now, after time, have your parents responded a little bit more positively to your choice?
Unfortunately, no. They're still cracking. You know, why you wearing that towel on your head, and you know you look like a donkey's with that hair on your face. But it's just too bad because, you know, it's like they see the change in my actions, in the way I think, but it's just too bad that they haven't realized that Islam is what brought this change.
Mm-hmm. So how do you manage yourself in the face of this sort of opposition? Do you feel like this pressure is too much for you from your parents, or do you feel satisfied that you are doing the right thing and come what may, Allah is sufficient for you? Or how do you reconcile your own thoughts in this matter?
Well, as it seems, I'm disappointed that my parents failed to see Islam and the good, but also on the other hand, I'd have to say that I'm very pleased with Islam, the way Allah has presented it to me, and that everything I learned, right, that I apply to, it all makes sense, and basically, like everything that happens to me in the day, I recognize that there's a reason for it. So I don't know if I'm answering the question.
Yeah,
But,
I think you are. I
right.
think you are. So you basically understand from you that you are satisfied that you have found the truth, and this is right for you. And so even if there's some opposition, you would carry on with being on the truth.
Yeah, because being a Muslim, it's not to please other people, right? So for me to pray 5 times a day, fasting the month of Ramadan, you know, the next person beside me on the bus, they won't know, they won't care, right? So all this struggle is basically for Allah. If my parents were to understand the basis of Islam, then most definitely I think that they would take a second look at it. But because the way they are, because they grew up outside Canada, right? So the way they see it is, you know, if you were born a Roman Catholic, you should die Roman Catholic, and if anyone says anything else, then it's dismissed as soon as it's presented to them.
And basically, I went to Islam for a reason because, like any typical teenager, I was party hardy, and no discipline when I was in high school, and I wish that I did have that discipline. I could have got further in my life if I did. But nevertheless, I chose Islam around 14 years ago. And it was, I honestly have to say also that I wasn't a very good Muslim for certain reasons. But one of those reasons also is that when I got married, I had to compromise my faith because of my marriage. Early on this evening, there was quite a shock when my, excuse me, my wife took the Shahada. And I was shocked, but very, very happy. And that is the truth. And it makes it much easier for me to practice it freely and to share with my family. And I'm very happy for that. First of all, it is quite important that all people should realize that there's only one God and Muhammad is his messenger. And as far as their emotions are concerned, I could understand that because they've been working with my wife and for a while now, trying to convince her. It is also a very touching situation because it's not every day that a person will turn around and say the Shahada. Okay, it's something that you have to work with and have to learn and grow. And in a way, I kind of respect that my wife held on because she didn't want to commit something that she wouldn't want to do. So if she just said it because I forced her to, then it doesn't really make any sense. There's no substance to what she says or commit to. This way, it's very good. It's very real. It's very truthful. So it is in her heart that she said that, not because I say so. Mm-hmm. So I was happy that way also. And I'm kind of happy that she was a bit, defensive when I tried to convince her. Because then it wouldn't be the truth if she kind of just gave up. Mm-hmm. You think that you're on top of the world, you're a partier and you wear the best clothes, you drive the best cars, you hang around with the coolest people, if you think that. But there's always something missing. And you cannot bring the best clothes and, all of these materialistic stuff when you die. Mm-hmm. Okay? And there is no best clothes or in paradise. It is just everyone is equal. Mm-hmm. So my message really is that you really have to look at what you want in life. Mm-hmm. You really have to look at what you want best for your family. It is quite important, especially in this age, that you should be concerned about your children, because your children is what's going to carry your name and, of course, the society, right? And at this point, it kind of scares me a bit, because when I look back, I thought I was bad, but now it's even worse. Now, 10, 20 years from now, I don't know. So I'm quite nervous about the future, mm-hmm. right? So therefore, I find that Islam is the only way to keep this discipline mm-hmm. and to keep on the right path. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, those Muslims should show good example, mm-hmm. and that's number one. As far as giving them dawah, everybody is different level, so it has to be confronted in a different way. Now, as far as this tape is concerned, earlier they had many suggestions, and they were all right. Absolutely. Books. In Toronto, of course, there's many television shows, especially on the weekends, regarding Islam. Newspapers. What the public should be careful is what they show in CNN, and because that is not Islam. That is just pure news, I guess, to boost up the ratings. And what is Islam is, what I really suggest is that if you are curious, just read the Quran, and that is the best thing. And if you are a Christian or you are a Jew, then read the Quran. If you know your books, read that book, then read the Quran again. And then you know very well which is right and which is wrong.
Mm-hmm. How has your transition to Islam changed your life and made your life better? How have things improved for you as a person? How have you become a better person as a result of now being a Muslim?
Well, before I embraced Islam, my life was, I guess you could say, a mess. I thought I was content for periods of times in my life, but when I look at what I've done and when I really actually analyze my life that I've lived, I wasn't happy at all. Islam has provided structure to my life, and it has put order into my life and has given me peace of mind, which I've always been looking for. I guess it's made me happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, there are obviously a lot of people out there who still need to hear the right message of Islam. Do you think that Islam has been conveyed properly in the media, on television, on radio, in the print media? Do you think that Islam has been represented correctly in the newspapers?
Not at all.
What do we need to tell the public about Islam?
Well, I guess the main thing is to clear up all these misconceptions about Islam. Muslims are normally looked upon as backward people, as ignorant, as terrorists, very passionate about the religion, which the passionate part I can, relate to. But in terms of being backwards and ignorant and whatnot, like, it's total, I don't want to say the word, but one thing that we could do as Muslims is clear up these misconceptions and try and give ourselves a better image, because the image that the media has made of us isn't exactly right or the truth. A lot of people have said, like, on this tape that leading and giving a good example, like through your actions and through your manners and whatnot, is the way to go about it, and I truly believe that. A lot of friends of mine that are non-Muslim and that know Muslims, they all agree that, Muslims are very kind people, polite, a lot of manners, and I guess we should all try and convey that, show how kind we are and how united we are as a family, I guess you can call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you feel that there are some ways also that the Muslims can spread Islam in the media by writing, television programs, radio, or are we doing enough in that area?
Personally, I don't feel like there's never enough. You can never do enough. The attempts made by Muslims thus far have been good, but I feel maybe a little bit more push. Like, we need to support our brothers in this field of dawah a little bit more, give them that helping hand in any way you can. Like the dawah centers around, where we are, Toronto, do a very good job, and like supporting them, giving them like whatever help you can, to help them spread this message, if you're not gonna spread it yourself. The main reason, I guess, they should make haste in taking their shahada, or if they already believe, is that you never know when you're gonna die. You could die tomorrow, you could die a few years from now, but I wouldn't, I guess, gamble with my life. Take their shahada if you truly believe, and then work on, learning about the religion, what you have to do and whatnot. Just for that main reason, like, Allah chooses when we go, and we don't know. So, like, that's one of the main reasons I took my shahada when I did, because I didn't know. I didn't want to risk it, and I don't think anybody should play, I guess, Russian roulette with their soul.
Do you have any regrets that you have become a Muslim?
Not at all. I'm very happy that I took my shahada. The trials and tribulations I go through now as a Muslim, they only help to make me stronger.